Oh, hi!
There it is!
1995 was what, 10, maybe 15 years ago? 30 years ago. We are getting old as Think about that. If you were a teen or a tween in 1995, you were like 30 years away from the Vietnam War. Hell, you were 50 years away from the end of World War II. Now, in 2025, you're, at least according to our YouTube metrics, you're probably a middle-aged man like me, getting increasingly upset that Foo Fighters is on the classic rock station. It's not classic rock. It's new rock. It's not classic rock. Foo Fighters are not classic rock. Oh well, at least we have some good memories of some good years. Speaking of memories, today we're going to go over a 30-year retrospective of the amazing year of the Super Nintendo RPG. That's right, because 1995 was the ultimate year, at least in my opinion, for Super Nintendo RPGs, and probably the ultimate year for 16-bit RPGs in general. We're going to go over 6 amazing RPGs that all came out in 1995 in North America. Kind of. There's 2 honorable mentions there. The main 4 that 100% came out in 1995 in America are Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen, and Secret of Evermore. Ooh. These titles push storytelling, gameplay, and artistry to the absolute peak of the 16-bit era. We also have 2 honorable mentions. First off is Final Fantasy VI, or Final Fantasy III if you were in America. Now, Final Fantasy III actually came out at the very end of 1994, but most people, like me, found it and probably used their Christmas money into the beginning of 1995, so I'm putting it on the list. If you don't like it, deal with it. Make your own list. Just do it. Shut up. And then Breath of Fire is the complete inverse because it came out at the pretty much end of 1995, but I'm putting it on the list anyway because, again, it's my list. If you don't like it, jog off. We're going to explore each game's creation, plot lines, innovations, art, music, all that jazz, and their impact on gaming in general. So dust off your Super Nintendo, grab some old expired snacks, maybe get this retro Diet Cherry Coke that I saw in the store. It's pretty cool. And join me as we go over 1995, a 30-year retrospective, the best year for Super Nintendo JRPGs. Ooh! Let's start off with Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger was released in March of 1995 in Japan and August 1995 in North America by Square. This game was a dream project, born from a collaboration between Hironobu Sakaguchi, Yuji Horii, and Akira Toriyama. Now, 2 of these guys, Toriyama and Horii, were pals from Dragon Quest all the way back on the NES. But all 3 of them finally met up in 1993 and decided to create an RPG that combined all of their strengths. Development took over 2 years, with Square's team of over 50 people pushing the SNES to its limit, eventually using expanded cartridges for richer content. In Chrono Trigger, with an H, you play as Chrono without an H. It's spelled different for some reason. Maybe it's to keep Leonardo DiCaprio from pointing at the TV. But Chrono is a silent, red-headed Goku/protagonist who accidentally triggers a time travel adventure after a mishap at the Millennial Fair. Who among us hasn't found themselves in a similar situation? Joined by Marley, which I pronounce like Marley, but some people pronounce it phonetically as Marl, who knows. Anyway, Marley is a rebellious princess who sneaks out of the castle to see the fair. Quickly appearing next is Luca, a genius inventor who lives across the street from Chrono Goku, and she looks like Bulma. And just for fun, we have a green guy who doesn't look like Piccolo. Yep, it's Frog, a cursed knight and one of my favorite video game characters of all time. Moving on beyond that initial cast, you find a couple more characters like a cool wizard and a robot and a dinosaur lady, and you meet them as you're hopping between eras, all the way back from 65 million BC to your modern day to a super depressing 2300 AD, and then even the end of time itself, all in an effort to stop Lavos, a world-devouring parasite. The story's blend of humor, tragedy, and choice-driven endings made it a narrative masterpiece. Chrono Trigger was one of the first games to have a New Game Plus mode, letting you replay with carried over stats to unlock one of 13 endings. It was always fun to take your overpowered as hell team against Lavos right out of the gate and smoke him. It's like if Kyle Reese showed up with a plasma machine gun and just killed the T-800 5 minutes into Terminator, that's how it feels. Another innovation was Chrono Trigger's active time battle system. It was a refined version of the one from Final Fantasy, and it mixed real-time and turn-based combat, with no separate battle screens. Dual and triple techs, like Chrono and Frog's little X-slash, rewarded party synergy, and being able to see and avoid enemies on screen was a refreshing change. Oh, and then by the way, there's a time travel mechanic to tie choices to consequences across eras, which was kind of a bold leap for storytelling back then. Akira Toriyama's vibrant character designs gave Chrono and his friends their iconic anime look. Although, and I say this as someone who loves Chrono Trigger and Dragon Ball, you basically got Ginger Goku, you got Not Bulma, Wizard Vegeta, and Cave Girl Android 17. The only original ones are Marley, Frog, and Robo, although I imagine we'll get comments about them too. In addition to the character design, the pixel art, all the way from Guardia Castle's grandeur to the desolate and frankly upsetting 2300 AD, was stunningly detailed. Yasunori Mitsuda, battling health issues at the time, composed a legendary soundtrack. You got Wind Scene, you got Frog Theme, Corridors of Time. Those are some of the best game songs of all time. Like, I used to listen to the orchestra arrangements when I put my kids to bed when they were babies. Like, use them as lullabies. It's amazing. Plus, you had Nobuo Uematsu sneaking in and contributing a few tracks of his own. It's honestly one of gaming's most celebrated scores for a reason. It's amazing. As far as lasting impact goes, Chrono Trigger is often hailed as the greatest RPG ever. And honestly, you can make a really good argument that that's the truth. Its polish, branching narratives, and accessibility influenced games from Undertale to Sea of Stars and countless other RPGs all the way to today. Ports to the DS, mobile phones, and PCs, plus a kind of sequel, keep the game alive. Fans still dream of a 3D remake. Honestly, I'd like a 2.5D remake. And its time travel mechanics remain a benchmark for narrative design. Also, let's go back to Chrono Cross. As an adult, I like it. It's not bad. But oh my god, was I mad the first time I played it, because I thought it was going to be Chrono Trigger 2, and it wasn't. So, I'm sorry, Chrono Cross. I judged you harshly. Next up is Earthbound, or Mother 2 as they called it in Japan, which was released in Japan in 1994 and North America in June 1995 by Nintendo and HAL Laboratory. Created by Shigesato Itoi, a copywriter with a knack for quirky storytelling, Earthbound was a 5-year labor of love. Itoi wanted an RPG that felt personal, and he drew from his childhood along with American pop culture, rejecting the normal fantasy tropes for something that's grounded in reality and yet super bizarre. We're playing Earthbound during Game of the Month this month, and it's honestly a major spark for why I even made this video. The 5-year development is pretty apparent though, because the game has a lot of NES mechanics, especially compared to something like Chrono Trigger, which came out the same year. I honestly think the charm and the story and everything else it has going for it overwhelm the mechanics, but some people can't get past it. In Earthbound, you play as Ness, a psychic kid in Eagle Land, which is definitely America. And you're joined by Paula, Jeff, and Pooh to collect 8 melodies and defeat Gygus, an alien entity corrupting the world. From suburban Onet to the psychedelic moon side, the journey blends absurd humor. Like, instead of fighting slimes or goblins, you fight possessed cars, or the entire police force, and it blends that weirdness with a chilling climax against Gygus, who's an unworldly evil entity who you really can't hurt unless you just sort of give up and rely on your friends, like some sort of Walmart brand spirit bomb. Honestly though, the story's heart lies in its themes of friendship and growing up, and as someone who played it when they were 12, it was perfect. This was like the perfect summer 1995 game for Lil Zoo. Earthbound subverted a lot of RPG norms, starting with its modern setting and its satirical tone. It had a rolling HP meter, which let you survive lethal hits by healing quickly, which kind of added a bit of strategic depth. Like, do I heal, or can I beat this guy before I die? The inventory system forced clever resource management, although to be honest, it hasn't aged well. It's probably one of the worst parts of this game playing it in 2025. I would prefer maybe double the amount of inventory, but it's still doable. There's also positional advantages, so if you sneak up on a bad guy, you get to attack first, and vice versa if they sneak up on you. This also turns into automatic wins when you're over-leveled, which makes backtracking easier. And there's a homesickness mechanic, where you need to call your mom every once in a while, which is pure genius because you're 12. And you're in a different town than your hometown, and you're fighting hippies. You're gonna get upset. You gotta call mom and be like, Mom, I don't know what's going on. These hippies just rolled out of nowhere. I ate a hamburger from the trash can. Just help me out, Mom. This game has a very minimalist pixel art with bold colors and exaggerated sprites, which created kind of a quirky, cartoonish vibe. Towns like Tucson felt alive with personality, and everything is drawn in a cool and a properly scaled isometric style. The soundtrack by Suzuki and Tanaka mix rock, jazz, and chiptune, spanning the gamut. Like Onett theme is pretty cozy, while the Gygas music at the end is pure nightmare fuel. It's a perfect blend of whimsy and unease, kind of like these videos. Also, there's a lot of rumors that the reason it took so long for Earthbound to be added to the Virtual Console, and why Mother 3 remains untranslated, is because the original game openly sampled from artists like the Beatles. And there's a lot of fair use lawyering floating around about how much was sampled, how it was used, if it was fair use, if they just lifted the tracks. Regardless, music is a big part of Earthbound, and it's a massive strength of Earthbound. You know what wasn't a massive strength of Earthbound? Sales! Because Earthbound flopped commercially in 1995, despite Little Zeus snagging a copy with his birthday money, combined with some allowance, because it was like $80 for a giant box. However, Earthbound became a cult classic, thanks to its unique voice and fan advocacy. It inspired games like Undertale, Lisa, and countless indie RPGs with its emotional depth and humor. Also, NES's Super Smash Bros. Fame and the Mother 3 fan translation movement keep the series alive, and fans are still clamoring for an official Mother 3 release. Terry Crews will never give up. He will not quit, ever, until you are dead. Or I guess Mother 3 comes out. I also want to mention the marketing, because some people blame it for the lack of an immediate commercial success. But between the awful smelling scratch and sniff stuff, the giant box with the strategy guide inside, and even the This Game Stinks ad campaign, it was just peak mid-90s. It was a very awkward step into edginess for Nintendo when they were trying to hit back at Sega, and it sticks with me. I liked it. Not a lot of people did, though. Secret of Evermore, released in October 1995 by Square's North American team, was a bold experiment, kind of like the experiment that takes place in the beginning of the game. Unlike Square's Japanese-developed hits, this was their first US-made RPG, built from scratch by a small team in Seattle. Heavily inspired by Secret of Mana, it aimed to bring Square's magic to Western audiences with a unique flavor. Secret of Evermore is about a boy and his shape-shifting dog who get transported to Evermore, a world created by a scientist's virtual reality experiment gone wrong. You explore 4 eras: prehistoric, ancient, medieval, and futuristic, and you collect parts to fix the teleportation machine and return home. The story's B-movie charm, with robotic clowns and gladiators and constant references to in-universe movies and TV shows, leans into campy fun instead of a serious and epic story like some of these other ones. One of the innovations of Secret of Evermore was the alchemy system, which replaced magic. It lets you mix ingredients like oil and wax for spells like a fireball. Additionally, your dog has era-specific forms. Like, in prehistory, he's a wolf. In the future, he's a robot, that sort of thing. It really added variety to exploration and combat. And its real-time battle system, much like Secret of Mana's, emphasized positioning and timing with a stamina-based attack meter. The pixel art really shines in this game's diverse settings. You got dinosaurs in jungles, pyramids in the desert, gothic castles, the works. And the dog's expressive animations are really a highlight. You have Jeremy Sewell's debut soundtrack with ambient tracks like Prehistoria and epic boss themes, which kind of foreshadowed his work on Elder Scrolls. It's atmospheric, it's awesome, but honestly, it's a little bit less iconic than other Square music, like from Final Fantasy III. Secret of Evermore is a cult favorite, despite being overshadowed by the Mana games, but it is praised for its accessibility and humor. Its alchemy system influenced crafting in later RPGs, and its Western perspective showed Square's global ambitions. To this day, fans still mod this game and replay it, even though it does lack the mainstream love of some of the other ones on this list. Up next, we have Ogre Battle, The March of the Black Queen. It was released in Japan in 1993 and took 2 years to get to America in May of 1995. This was a groundbreaking strategy RPG hybrid. This was Yasumi Matsuno's first major project, and it blended epic storytelling with tactical depth. When Enix published this in the West, they introduced a niche gem to SNES players. I rented this one at Farmore, and I was very confused. I remember playing it on the TV at my grandparents', and no one really knew what was happening or why I had pumpkin ghosts. It's a core memory. In Ogre Battle, you're the leader of a rebellion against the Zetagean Empire, which I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. The Zetagean Empire oppresses the continent after a demonic pact with bad guys. Ooh! Your customizable hero's choices shape your alignment, either lawful, neutral, or chaotic, and that affects story paths, unit recruitment, and game endings. The narrative's political intrigue and moral ambiguity were mature for the era, and the game had a lot of PC strategy elements, except on the SNES. Ogre Battle mixed real-time strategy with RPG progression. You controlled armies, not just characters, and your units moved in a real-time strategy style on a world map. The alignment system tied morality to gameplay, so chaotic units like dragons thrive with evil leaders, while lawful ones suited the heroes. Tarot cards, drawn while in battle, offered buffs or debuffs, adding strategic layers to the game. I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of it is still kind of complex and confusing for me, even as an adult, as evidenced by my accidentally super evil run in the sidequel Ogre Battle 64. I honestly thought I was doing good until everyone just started treating me like German Mustache Man. I don't know what I did to get them so upset. The dark fantasy aesthetic with detailed sprites for knights, wyverns, and sorcerers really brought the world to life, and the world map's isometric view was ambitious for the SNES. Like I said before, it's kind of like a PC game, but on the SNES. And oh, by the way, you have an amazing orchestral soundtrack with songs like Thunder and White Storm. They were epic, and they rivaled some of Square's best. Ogre Battle really helped to pioneer the SRPG genre, paving the way for, of course, other tactic ogre games, maybe a little game you've heard of called Final Fantasy Tactics, and even some of the later Fire Emblem games, and all sorts of other strategy and tactics RPGs. Its alignment system was really interesting, and I mean, honestly, who knows how many games it might have actually influenced. The series continued with Ogre Battle 64, which I really enjoy, and it remains a cult classic among strategy fans. Final Fantasy VI, or 3 in America, but I guess we'll call it 6. Final Fantasy VI released in Japan in April of 1994 and North America in October of 1994. It sneaks into the list as the first of the honorable mentions. We'll say on paper that due to its late year launch, it means it showed up at Christmas 94, and people probably didn't get it until the beginning of 1995, but honestly, it's one of my favorite games of all time and I want to add it to the video, so sue me. Just deal with it. Directed by Yoshinori Kisai and Hiroshi Sakaguchi, Final Fantasy VI was Square's most ambitious SNES project, with a massive team pushing narrative boundaries, and it really shows, because honestly, it might be the perfect SNES RPG. It might be the perfect RPG ever. Just putting it out there. The story of Final Fantasy VI follows Terra, a half-human, half-esper, and 13 other heroes fighting the Empire and its nihilistic jester, Kefka. He's basically like the evilest variant of the Joker from Batman. After Kefka destroys the world halfway through the game, spoiler alert, you rebuild your party in a ruined landscape and journey to defeat him. The ensemble cast, each with personal arcs like Locke's guilt or Cyan's loss, and themes of hope and despair, made Final Fantasy VI a storytelling triumph. Final Fantasy VI ditched a single or even like a trio protagonist group for a 14-character ensemble, each with unique abilities like Sabin's Blitz or Edgar's Tools. And there was an Esper system that let you customize stats and magic, which is really a precursor to Final Fantasy VII's materia, but that's a whole other video. About halfway through the game, when you get to the World of Ruin, the open-ended structure was liberating and also kind of confusing for a kid, because it lets you choose your party and your order of quests and all that stuff with very minimal guide rails. Like if you wanted, you could just go try to find Kefka and kill him right away. You're probably gonna lose. You're almost definitely gonna lose, but you could. The pixel art in Final Fantasy VI is some of Square's finest, with expressive sprites, and Mode 7 effects like when you're flying the airship or certain spells. Kefka's chaotic grin and the World of Ruin's desolate vistas were just unforgettable. Nobuo Uematsu's soundtrack, from the operatic Maria and Draco to the soaring terrorist theme, is considered his magnum opus. I bought one of the CDs for this game, and I bought it before Amazon. Like, I had to go to the Borders by the Eastwood Mall and order it. Remember Borders? Final Fantasy VI isn't just a contender for the best Final Fantasy game, it's a contender for the best video game of all time. Its ensemble storytelling and emotional depth obviously influenced Final Fantasy VII, but well beyond. The Pixel remaster in 2022 and fan mods keep it alive, and Kefka remains a top-tier villain in gaming culture. He was probably the first bad guy who won, at least for me. Like, halfway through the game, Lil Zu was expecting some Deus Ex Machina, and then Kefka just kills the Emperor, and a bunch of people die, a whole lot of people die, the world gets partially destroyed, and then there's just a whole second half of the game. That's amazing. And then finishing up, we're going to give a quick nod to Breath of Fire 2, which was released in Japan in December 1994 and in North America in August 1995. Its late release meant a lot of players didn't get to play it until 1996, which is kind of the opposite of Final Fantasy VI, but whatever. Whatever, it's my list. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it because I do feel like I'm kind of cheating it in there, but you play as Ryu, a dragon-blooded hero who gets ripped out of his normal life and slowly has to build an eclectic party, all while trying to stop a demonic cult. The game's Shaman Fusion system, which lets you blend characters for stat boosts, was really innovative, although the clunky translation frustrated a lot of people. Plus the encounter rate's pretty bad. But honestly, I didn't mind that much because the game has very vibrant pixel art and Yuzo Koshiro's jazzy soundtrack with all sorts of great songs. It's a decent game in its own right, but I think its main legacy was influencing later Breath of Fire games, like Breath of Fire 3. Vote for Breath of Fire 3 in Game of the Month this month, if you can. Please. Thank you. These four main games, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, Secret of Evermore, and Ogre Battle, along with Final Fantasy VI and Breath of Fire 2, defined the SNES as the ultimate RPG machine. Their innovative mechanics, from time travel to alignment system, and their unforgettable stories, art, and music continue to inspire developers and captivate players 30 years later. Whether it's saving the world from Lavos, battling Gygas, or rebelling against an empire, these games captured our imaginations and our hearts, and continue to do so 30 years later. Holy crap, I am getting old. So what'd you think? What's your favorite Super Nintendo JRPG? What's your favorite JRPG in general? Did you like my list? Do you think I'm way off base? Although, a list that has Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, I mean, you don't really have a leg to stand on. I'm right. It's almost universally agreed upon that I'm right. But, regardless, let us know in the comments what you think. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!